Well, hi all. Today I want to talk about the AFLW, or as I prefer to call it, the AWFL. Um, in today's paper, there is an eight pages of discussions about the AFL upcoming season, which starts, I believe, tonight. 8 pages, quite extraordinary. Now, I'd like to talk about the AFL as its 9th season coming up. The last season, the AFLW average attendances were 2,679. The men's game was 36,877. The finals for the AFLW, the average finals attendance was just under 6,000. The average finals attendance for the men's was 74,000. Really, the attendances at the AFLW are virtually nothing. Of those average 2,700 people at each of the home and home games, the significant numbers will be just hangers-on of the players themselves. And many others, I'm sure, will be free tickets. So there's no doubt that the AFL is being extremely highly subsidised by the AFLW is being extremely highly subsidised by the AFL. And at the same time, of course, the players are looking to have an extended season and to get a lot more money. The trouble is no one is really interested in them, not when you look at the actual attendances. Now, television ratings for the AFLW were down 70% on season 1. Crowds are down, well, as we say, more than 60% over season 1. Meanwhile, the players are wanting more money. Quite extraordinary. They're not doing as well as the Women's Big Bash League, for crying out loud, which really doesn't have much interest in general. TV audiences for the the AFLW, have fallen from 180,000 per match in the season's first competition, which was just people were being curious about it, I'm sure, to just over 53,000 for season 7, only 53,000. It really is very, very poor interest in terms of people watching on television and people turning up to play. However, the AFLW people remain buoyant about it all. One person, a former AFLW player and a Western Bulldogs player, said comparing data for seasons to 1 to 7 was a big stretch because suddenly we've got 10 teams now. We only had, I think, 6 in the first place. It really doesn't matter. People are not particularly interested in it. Just having a look here at the free-to-air figures. Free-to-air figures are around about 17% of the free-to-air primary channels that people actually watch. And that is a pretty poor percentage. The average attendances have dropped from 180,000. Sorry, the average home and away TV audiences were 180,000 in season 1, where it was just curious, and it's dropped down to 53,000 now. Really, it's obviously they're going to be relying heavily on sponsors for some reason or another. They complain, of course, that it's on in bad places and bad locations and that the technology at these grounds is not up to the standard that's necessary. The reality is, however, that people simply aren't interested. Most people aren't interested. And let's at least call it out and say that the AFL are promoting this. People are not showing much interest. In fact, their interest is declining, and I can't see this surviving in the future without continued heavily subsidised through the AFL and presumably the sponsors. There's a question, of course, of whether the sponsors will wake up that no one is watching either, or whether they just have the feeling that it's really nice to give them a warm feeling inside to support the AFLW or the AWFL. So that's really all that I have to say. I think that I have no objection to the whole concept. What I do have objection to is the extraordinary media hype that's been blown up about it. The reality is most people don't care. The level of skill is way below that of men. There's no question of that. It's really just not worth watching, in my view. And I might add that I don't think AFL men's is a particularly interesting game to watch either, but the women are certainly much worse. I have no great problem with it, but let's not get carried away by the media hype that would like to tell us that the AFLW is the best thing since lace-up boots. Really, the public in general are not interested in it, in spite of all the extended media coverage. As I say, 8 pages in the Herald Sun today, plenty of talk about it on the television, but the eyeballs simply aren't there, and the bums on seats aren't there either. So that's just about it on my grump for today. I'm going to try and see if I can now use Clipchimp to improve the start and end of it. We'll see how we go. Bye for now.